going. We're going. We're here now.
Welcome. Here we are.
Here
We're
we are.
live.
There's too much
Yeah.
good stuff going on in the background to not just capture.
That's right. Let's just capture. Let's start capturing. Welcome
We're
to the
over
first
here trying to make
GFW
a
podcast.
jingle, a podcast jingle, and it's not working out.
Yeah. It's not working out at all.
We're gonna have to ask our fans to
Right.
submit a jingle.
That'd be epic. Yeah. Get them involved. Find us a GFW jingle.
GFW
We need help.
Well, here we are. Podcast number 1.
Yeah. I'm Reid.
And I'm Ed. We're the guys
Welcome to
fishing
the
weekend boys.
Yeah, welcome to the GFW podcast. Not really sure what the hell we're doing, but yeah, we'll cut that out. We'll edit that part for sure.
So far, this is great TV, and I hope a lot of people watch this.
Entertaining. We have no idea what the fuck we're doing, but it's good.
You know, a lot of podcasters spend a lot of time prepping for their shows, taking notes, doing research, getting guests. Not us. Not us.
Yeah, eventually we'll do all that for sure.
Maybe.
I think.
For sure, I think.
Maybe we'll have a plan.
Maybe.
But you know, there's the other side that says just do it, just jump in and go, and let's see what happens.
Ready, fire, aim, they say.
That's right. Exactly.
But I do think we have an underlying mission as to what we're trying to accomplish with this whole thing.
Indeed.
I think the grand mission that we have, we've been doing this trip. You've been doing this trip for over 27 years. I've been on the trip for about 15 years now. And we want to share the wealth of what that trip is like, get people involved, get people creating their own trips, doing their own fishing trips, connecting, getting out into nature, fly fishing, spin fishing, ice fishing, deep sea fishing, doing all the fun trips. And
yeah,
so that's,
I think that sense of adventure piece, right? Really important to what we're trying to help people do, you know, in creating their own trips and that kind of thing. With that adventure piece and doing different stuff that always pushes us to new experiences. I think that's something, you know, that we share in common is that idea of experience, right? I know that's been something that's been ingrained in me for a long time. You know, I left home and went a long way away to college. I didn't stick around. You know what I mean? Like there's always been that kind of adventurous side where I've wanted to make my own way. And I think that that's always stuck with me. You know what I mean? And I try to impart that to my kids too, as they're getting older, is, you know, making their own way, that adventurous side of, you know, facing those fears and the scariness of that, you know, but doing something different that you haven't done. And I think that that's what, you know, GFW gives us that opportunity to do that.
Once a year, baby.
Once a year, right, with the boys and do those kinds of things. So that's been one aspect of it that's awesome.
Definitely. I think the other aspect is the camaraderie that comes along with it, and the jokes and laughter and fun. And we often talk a lot about having a measuring stick on Guys Fishing Weekend, and you know, we're all caught up in the social media and the chasing the Joneses and being better than your neighbor. And when you get the guys back together every year, it gives you time to connect and meet up and have kind of a conversation about where people really are in life, and that everything's not just rosy. And you know, somebody's getting divorced, somebody had a family member that died, somebody's kid blew out their ACL and lost a scholarship, whatever it is. There's always things that, you know, people don't talk about, and it's a great way to level set and be like, hey, I'm doing well. I got to keep plugging along. And
right. Yeah, you know, Ed, that was something that, you know, as, you know, 20 years, my younger buddy, you know, that was one thing that you wrote about that resonated with me. And, I had never, I had never thought about it specifically in that way, but that's exactly what one of the real great things about our weekend over the course of those many years is just that measuring stick for life. Like, you realize in talking with your buddies and hanging out with them and spending time with them that, yeah, okay, they have issues too. It's not just me. Like, I have things that are great in my life. I have things that I'm struggling with in my life, whatever it is. But to hear other guys struggling with similar things and different things and whatever, it's like it is just that, a measuring stick. It gives you kind of that idea. And the way that you framed that, it really, like, that gave me some perspective. As the old guy, I'm not the oldest guy on the trip, but that would be your dad.
Yeah, we'll point him out later.
But that was definitely, that was something that really, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, that's exactly a major part of it. Was that idea of a measuring stick for life. You get to kind of see what other guys are doing and struggling with, and having wins with, which is really cool. So that was a real enlightening thing for me when you framed it that way. That was cool.
Yeah, I think it's important, and so I always enjoy that, especially you go along and you're always comparing yourself to other people, and you're only comparing people to their highlight reels, and it's always good to find out that you're doing just fine.
Right. And I think there's a real difference with, comparing yourself to, or keeping up with the Joneses. Like, I have to do this or this in order to seek validation in my life. Like, it's not that. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? It's not that idea of I have to do X, Y, and Z. It's just a matter of, listening and hearing and, oh shit. Yeah. Okay. I relate to that, and I relate to that. And yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm not as bad as I thought I was. We can get in that mental space, right, where it's like, holy shit, I'm doing everything wrong. My kid's gonna have need like years of therapy, and then I'm like, okay, wait, maybe not, maybe just a couple months. No, right, yeah. So, but I think that's huge. That piece and that distinction is big, because we're not. I'm not the kind of person that keeps up with the Joneses. I truly don't give a fuck about the Joneses. I'm, living my life and trying to get my kids to understand that same thing. And it's hard now with social media and everything, right? I mean, I think kids have it way tougher with all the stuff they're exposed to. And so if I can try to keep my kids grounded in, I don't give a crap about X, Y, and Z. Like, live for you and do your thing, right? That's what I'm trying to do, and that's how I'm trying to live my life. And I think GFW definitely, like, our weekends when we go and we hang out together, is such a great way to keep me grounded into the things that I love and the things that I appreciate and the things that bring meaning and value to me. And so if we can help people create that space and those spaces, then I think that's something, that's something important and something valuable that I think people, hopefully can get from us in some way, shape, or form, especially through something we love so much as fishing. Right.
Right. I think the other thing that we love a lot are jokes. And
yeah,
I'm not a good joke teller, although I am funny, I think. Probably not.
Looks aren't everything, but yeah, you have your moments.
Every now and then, I hit one. I get a single, but jokes are one of the best parts. Probably not the best part, but one of the best parts. What we like about Guys Fishing Weekend.
Oh, I think it's if it's not the epicenter, it's certainly close to. The laughter that we experience is it's those are the things that you remember year in and year out. Those are the stories, seemingly the ones that get the biggest laughs.
Right.
And they are at the expense of each other, right? Yeah.
They're only at the expense of each other.
Right. And I think that that's something that in a society where we're feeling, I think, more and more guarded of, not wanting to offend, being cognizant of those around us, because certainly I don't want to offend people, right? Um, but it gives us an incredibly safe space to um, laugh and joke and not have to worry about, um, offending each other. And so, because I think of the longevity of it and the way that we've, the fact that we've spent such good quality time and the amount of good quality time that we've spent with each other, we've created that safe space where we can just go and be, who we are without having to worry about, that judgment or offending or whatever. I can talk to any one of you guys about any single thing that's happening with me without feeling embarrassed or anything like that. And so, that kind of level of, friendship and camaraderie is, that's the thing that I cherish the most. And oftentimes, the jokes are a gateway into some of those more serious conversations.
Right.
Honestly, we make light of those things that we struggle with, right? That's an easy defense mechanism we use. And so I think a lot of times our jokes and our, the stuff we make fun of each other about leads into some of those better, deeper conversations that we end up having, which is the benefit of it all, right?
It's funny because it's true.
Right, exactly. To quote one of the greatest movies, Hangover, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because it's true. Yeah. So
I'm sure we'll get into a lot more of the reasons that we love this, but I think probably we should.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've talked. We're 12 minutes into this. These people are like, "Who the hell are these guys?" Just randomly telling us about some trip. So why don't you go ahead and explain yourself to Reid?
Reid Auger. I just turned 56. I have a wonderful, incredible wife. We've been married for 23 years now. And I have 3 kids, one who just turned 21 recently, which is kind of bizarre. I have a child that can drink legally now. I have an 18-year-old son and another 16-year-old daughter. So I have a senior, a junior in high school, and then my oldest is about to graduate college. So I'm in a different place in life than you in terms of my family. And I have older, I'm now getting to that point where I'm starting to parent. My parenting is changing to parenting adults, more adult kids. And so, really different, but cool, and fun and challenging in different ways. I am a teacher of 25 years and getting ready to retire this year. As I can no longer do the teaching thing. It doesn't bring me the joy. And I've taught middle school for the last 21, 22 years, and high school for 3 years before that. So, I've been teaching middle schoolers for the last 20 some years, which has been an incredibly rewarding profession in a lot of ways, an incredibly abusive career in a lot of other ways. And so the energy that it takes for that, I would rather put my energy elsewhere. I'm not getting out of it what I used to. So, so I'm retiring in May. I have 4 more months of my life as a teacher, which is exciting. It's scary. It's moving into something new. Hopefully, it's this Guys Fishing Weekend. So that's a little bit about me. I live in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. I'm lucky because I have all the trout bum fishing I want. But when we talk about those new experiences, I need to get some of those in because, I'll always be a trout bum at heart, I think. But I got into fly fishing when I can share the fact that I am a recovering alcoholic. And 30, 30 years ish, somewhere around there. I have to count them all up, but yeah. So um, I am, I got into fly fishing through a buddy of mine that became almost a therapeutic thing for me while I was after I got sober, and gave me something to do and something to invest time in, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And so that's kind of how I got into fly fishing. I didn't fish much. I grew up in South Florida and didn't fish much. My dad wasn't a big fisherman, although he did teach me some stuff with a fly rod because he learned through some other family members. So, but when I was growing up, I didn't do a ton of fishing in South Florida. It wasn't until I was in Colorado for college that I went to CU and graduated from there and was in Boulder, and that's where I learned how to fly fish. So yeah, that's how kind of I got into fishing, and I've been, an avid fisherman ever since. I dabble in fly tying, and I probably will plan on doing a lot more of that when I retire, so I can get better at it. So yeah, that's kind of the lowdown on me.
Love it. And I'm Ed
Yeah.
Beck. I'm 35, going on 36 here shortly. I grew up in Colorado. I have a wonderful wife of 10 years this year and a daughter who is 3. We've kind of been moving around for a while. I followed her along her route through some training and ended up in Chicago and then now Kansas City, and I've been here for about 6 years. And get back to Colorado regularly to go fish and fish around here in the Kansas City area as well. I was originally in the commercial real estate world and decided to take a sabbatical and explore what is around the corner in life. And so happened across doing this. And so we've been putting this together for a few months now, and hope it can be a fun adventure together. And I guess my background in fishing is I started really young fishing the reservoirs of the Front Range, spin fishing, mainly for bluegill. That's about all I was able to catch. I think my biggest bluegill until I was 12 was like 6 inches, so I felt pretty good about how capable of a fisherman I was. And so my dad and Reid and a few of his buddies introduced me to the sport of fly fishing because they knew I was ready to take it to the next level. And so I don't remember the exact waters. You probably have to remind me, but was it the Yampa?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they took me to the Yampa and they gave me a fly rod, and I was terrible at it.
You were a young wee lad.
Young wee lad. I think I was probably 11, maybe 10 or 11, and
Something like that.
I marched right up to the headwaters dam, and as any good spin fisherman would do, I just lowered my line from the top of the dam. I caught a beautiful trout. Size doesn't matter. And I reeled him up and I dragged him all the way back down the trail till I found somebody just yelling, I caught one, I caught one. And the rest is history. That's how I got into fly fishing, and it's been the only way I've fished since. Still dabble with the other stuff, but fly fishing is the true love. And so when it came to the guys fishing week and stuff, they'd have obviously been doing it since I was probably around that same age. And it was always a rule that you couldn't go to guys fishing weekend until you were 18. And when that year finally came along, I got initiated into the club. And since then I've been going. So
yeah, I think it's important to point out probably like our connection is through your dad, right? Joe, your dad, Joe, and I were our friends from way back when we used to work in the restaurant business before I became a teacher. And so I met Joe, long ago. We worked for the same restaurant chain company, and I've known you since you were, 2 feet tall. And so, um, I've been lucky enough to have that friendship, and that's one of the longevity friendships of my life. And so our connection is through your dad's,
Yep.
you and I are friends because I was friends with your dad and
You're
still
my
am absolutely we
heck yeah.
all still go now.
And he'll be
So
on the show at some point too. But
absolutely.
you've you've obviously been one of my lifelong mentors and friends and really family at this point. So um, it's awesome that we can
Yep.
keep it all banging on. So
Right. And that's the thing I tell people too. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this venture with, a friend of mine sometimes they're stunned to hear that he's 20 years my younger friend, but it's been just incredible to have that youthful perspective, and to be able to share some of my thinking in things, and get to hear your thoughts and input even with that 20-year gap is huge, to hear those things. So it's been amazing so far. Just these last few months that we've been doing this has just been energizing for me, as I'm getting to a point clearly in my career where I'm tired, right? It sucks the life out of me anymore. This has rejuvenated me in terms of energy and things that I want to do, and I am constantly thinking about it. So soon I'll be able to pour all my energies into it, which is great. So, yeah, dude, no, I appreciate you, and all our friendship has given us. It's been something special. So it's cool.
heck yeah. And you've been there
I'm
for
glad we get to collaborate in this way and do these
yeah.
things because it's fun. So hopefully the other boys will get on board here shortly.
Seriously,
We'll get them involved.
we're gonna have to strong arm them. It's getting a
Right.
little tiring
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
We're not
It'd be
angry.
nice to
We're not
have some other
angry.
stuff.
We're just a little disappointed.
No, not at all. They'll get there.
So I guess that's us. You'll learn more about us as we go, but I think we should talk a little bit about the mission of what we're trying to do here, why we even ventured off on this path. Um, I think part of it started from wanting to be more intentional with our own documentation of our own trip. Something that we've lost over the years. There's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of stories that just fell through the grates. But I think the other aspect is, as we said at the beginning, really opening this up to the entire world of helping people see the importance of such a trip and really bringing that camaraderie and friendship and adventure and all the other words we'll talk about into your life, and really trying to connect people through the sport of fly fishing and fishing trips and other fishing, and getting people out together.
Yeah, I think that yeah, absolutely. I think that that's the idea of it was, how do we help other people? There is that issue of, you know, I think a societal issue of loneliness in men, right? We're expected to provide and do all these things that men in our culture have done, and so there's a lot of pressure that goes along with that, and then there's even more pressure to suppress that stuff and not talk about those things and just go about doing our job. And so one of the things I think that we both have talked about quite a bit in wanting to do this venture is how can we help maybe guys who start to get lonely and don't have those faculties or places or spaces where they can meet up with other dudes and just be dudes, right? And do the things that we love to do, maybe without feeling so much pressure. A lot of guys don't know where to go or start or do those kinds of things, and so that was an aspect of it, right? That we were like, man, we're lucky to have this one time a year where we we get to go just be dudes, right? And what started out as like a 2-night, 3-day thing has turned into, well, at least for you and me, like a 4-night, 5-day thing. It seems to keep growing,
Right.
much to the chagrin of the misses. Um, but I think that's, but that even in its kind of authentic morphing of a bigger weekend speaks volumes to the need for it, right? For that connection with other men to just be guys and let, you know what I mean, without and being able to forget about responsibility, forget about, at least for these few days, all we have to do is hang out with each other and fish, dude. Right? And there's something about that, being able to just unload all of that worry and pressure and all those things. Yeah, how do we help other people kind of maybe connect and create that for themselves, and places to do that, right? And ideas and trips and things, right? And that's the
Right.
thing we want to hear, right? We
We don't
want to
know
hear,
everything.
we want to tap into, no, and we want to hear from other people, right? We want to tap into that stuff. So we want to create kind of that community where people are sharing trips and where'd you go and how'd you do this, and right, because I don't know the first thing about fishing for redfish, but God knows I want to go fish for redfish, right? Who do I go talk to? Who do I go see? Where's the best place? What time of year? Um, so creating that space is huge for us, right? That was a big part of it.
100%. And I think one thing that we just lose as we get older, and you know, you've been a little bit more removed from the ages of when play was so important in life, and this is our weekend to go play, and play really lets all the guards down. And so I think the focus on how can we have more opportunities to play and be kids again, because that's really how you stay young and connected, and really create those connections. So we're pumped.
Yes, indeed. Excited.
It's going to be epic, as some would say.
The best word ever to describe a fishing experience: epic. I take a lot of shit for that one, but
Well,
it's going to be epic.
it's going to be epic. Well, I think that might be a good place to wrap this first one up.
Sweet, dude. Yeah, I like it.
We'll uh, we'll
I
be
like it.
we'll be releasing more regularly here soon, and we look forward to going on this journey with everybody.
Sweet. I love it, man.
All right, love you, man. We'll talk soon.
I love you. I love you too. We'll talk soon, bud.